Good morning and welcome to Today in L.A. I'm Mike Amos. He's Frank Sadler Jr., the son of Frank Sadler Sr., the legendary coach for so many years around here. And, of course, we'll be on the phone with Coach Frank Sadler Sr. Later on in our show. And, of course, he's up in Chattanooga. Is that right?
Ottawa.
Of course, Frank Sadler Jr., a legend in his own mind, ladies and gentlemen.
Right.
His daddy was a legend, and you're a legend in your own mind. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
One of the great crappie fishermen of all time. Would you say that?
Nah, you just go out to the pond and catch them.
You do? Do you catch them every time you go?
Mm-hmm.
What's the difference in catching a crappie and catching a brim?
You catch more crappie on minnows, and then the brim, you catch them on crickets.
And you catch them, so you use minnows, and of course,
Or a jig.
How big a minnow do you use?
Whatever the bait store.
Isn't it hard to catch one of those minnows?
Well, you go to the bait store and catch them.
No, but when you reach down there to put one on the hook, it's hard to catch him.
You get your little net.
You got to get him. You got to catch him with a net first.
I'll put your hand in it. It depends on how good you are.
Well, I tell you now, I used to fish with them, and I'd put the hook right in the lip. Where do you put them? The backbone, or where do you put them?
Through the eyes or through the tail.
Why don't you put it through his lip?
I've always done it through the eyes.
And of course you're good at catching crappie.
I would caught 30 Monday.
What would you rather catch, crappie or brim or shell cracker?
All of them, both of them.
Huh?
Both of them fun to catch.
Which one's the best to eat?
I don't eat none of them. I give them away.
And the thing about it, you don't put them back in, do you?
We caught 31. We threw one little crappie back.
Why
I
don't you want to ever just throw them back in
we
and
caught
catch
four.
them again?
We caught 4 bass that weighed about 3 pounds apiece. We threw all them back.
Yeah.
They didn't want
Why don't you put the crappie back?
Because they multiply so fast.
Do they really?
You can't. I mean, it's like last year we went out there.
That means there's more fish to catch, though, isn't it? Doesn't it?
Well, we went out there last year for an hour and a half, and I had 105 in the boat.
And what'd you do with them?
Give them away.
Oh, you clean them first, though, don't you?
No, I give them away.
Wait a minute. You mean you give a fish away and say, here's a fish, clean them. Is that right?
That's right. I don't want them.
Frank Sadler Jr. joins us today on this 23rd day of February, and a big weekend coming up. The John Archer team that goes all the way back to 1956 through 1973 will be here for their annual reunion. A bunch of them will be playing golf today out at the Troy Country Club around noon. They have lunch and so forth, and then a big gathering at the courtyard by Marriott tonight, starting around 5:30. If you would like to get out and see some of these guys, you're welcome to come. Frank Sadler Jr. is our guest, and of course, like I said, the son of a legend, the legendary Frank Sadler Sr. And give us a true, accurate report on your daddy.
He's enjoying it. He's kind of not remembering.
Tell him where he is.
He's in Ottawa, Tennessee. He's at assisted living. He's fixing to eat breakfast. I just got off the phone with him.
And he can come and go as he wishes. Is that right?
Well, they take him on the bus, whatever. My brother's got his car. And
wait a minute. You mean you took his car away from him?
No, my brother's got it at his house. Because when you get assisted living, wherever they go as a group, they put them in the bus and they take them wherever they want to go. And it's like a little studio apartment where they live in.
He'll probably go to see the Lookouts place.
They'll probably go see the Lookouts. They go, let's see, what else they go?
He's a big Troy baseball fan. He used to go to all the Troy baseball games.
Right.
Is that right?
Uh-huh. He used to go to the basketball games too. And that's real good. And he'd go to football games here when he was here.
Yeah, no question about it. Of course, we'll be on the phone with him after he has his breakfast this morning. Of course, last night in a heartbreaker, Troy loses to Lafayette. Lafayette might be one of the best teams that's been through Troy in the Sun Belt Conference. And I can't remember a better team than this team right here. Maybe a Georgia State team about 6 or 7 years ago, but that was a real good team last night.
They look good. They look good. Well, they're 24-4.
Well, one thing what they look like, first of all, they look like a bunch of grown men, and they could play 10. I noticed that they played 10 people in and out, and they could shoot. They played as a team. They had a very good offensive plan against Troy, and they were just a solid player. But Troy went all the way to the wire with this solid team, and made it real close. In fact, cut it to 1 point late in the ball game. I think they lost by 5, didn't they? Something like that. Of course, Wesley Person.
He was hot last night.
Yeah, and I tell you, they took him out at the wrong time. They took him out with about 10 minutes to go in the game, and he sat for about 3 or 4 minutes. And that was the time we needed his shooting.
He
ability.
scored what, 19 points last night?
19, and I think they took him out when he was hot.
Yeah, and 35. He needed 35 points to. I mean, he'll break it Saturday. Everybody needs.
Hopefully, he can.
Everybody needs to come out there Saturday because the kids get in free and $5 to get in the game.
That's right.
Fill the arena because if he scores, what is it, 16 points, he breaks the all-time record at Troy University.
Yeah, that's right. And we're going to be pulling for him hard. I saw his daddy last night, Wesley Stick Person Sr., and, of course, one of the all-time greats to come out of Brantley, Alabama, of course, along with his brother, Chuck Person, and both of them became great pro players. In fact, I talked to Stick last night quite a bit, and still looks good. Gosh, he looks like he could play right now. But at one time in his pro career with the Arizona, what is that name of that Arizona team, pro basketball team? The Arizona, well, he played for Arizona, and he led the league 2 different times in three-point shooting. He was a 3-point champion of the league twice. And, of course, 3 points with the pros, what is it, 23 feet, 25 feet, the distance. And he was a great pro player, and he played with Charles Barkley. In fact, Stig was at the Auburn-Alabama game, which was played on Wednesday. And he was with the Grand Mound Rebound. You know who that is, don't you?
Who's that?
The Grand Mound. Oh, wait a minute. What is his? Charles Barkley. The great Charles Barkley.
He went to Auburn. I know he went to Auburn.
Right. And he was there for the Alabama-Auburn basketball game Wednesday night. And
he went to Auburn.
Stig Person and Chuck all played together at Auburn. And, of course, Charles Barkley, one of the great players of all time, was not only a super player at Auburn, but a great player in the pros. And still is one of the top commentators out there, and still a extremely strong Auburn supporter, Charles Barkley. Of course, our show is brought to you by Dixieland Dental, located 9 miles north of Dothan on Highway 231. Dr. Michael Precise, Dr. John Strength, Dr. Damon Strength, and Dr. Robert Precise make up one of the largest dental clinics in Alabama. I was disappointed in the crowd last night. We had a lot of students. Listen, we had the students, but did you turn around and look at our side?
Yeah.
Oh, it was embarrassing. You didn't go to the game, and shame on you. And I'm talking to you, the public. If you, it's great basketball.
It's a great arena. I mean,
ain't
a bad seat in that place.
And it's good basketball, and you had an opportunity to go and take your children or your grandchildren, they would have gotten in free.
They getting free Saturday too, the kids do.
That's right, and it's a wonderful venue. And last night, the students did come out, but the general public did not. And again, shame on you for missing a great game last night. And we have Division 1A sports. You don't get any bigger in college sports than you do right here at Troy. the highest level in basketball, the highest level in football, the highest level in baseball. You can see it right here in Troy if you'll just come out and do it. Man, I tell you, it would have been it had to be something pretty bad, maybe a death in the family. Boy, I would have missed that game last night.
Yeah, it was good. And you can always come. Last night they gave away a trip to Orlando. You made a paper airplane. Whoever got it in the middle of the court won the trip.
I didn't have time to make it.
I made it, but mine didn't make it to the court.
I can remember. You remember you couldn't make airplanes?
I thought I had a good one. I went in the hallway and tested it out, and it flew
really?
pretty good, but it didn't fly worth a dime in the court.
Went the hallway, and
threw it and see if it would go.
Well, that was smart that you did that.
I thought I had a winner, but nope.
Yeah, I used to make them when I was little, and I'm gonna fool with this a little bit. Did you ever make them when you were little? You probably did you?
Oh yeah.
Huh?
Oh yeah.
And let's see here.
Yeah, you making a short one probably been better than mine.
What I'm gonna do?
I made a Learjet. My Lear didn't.
Yeah,
my Lear
crashed.
crashed.
It's amazing. I haven't done this in probably 70 years or 65 years. And it's amazing that I can just do it. And there it is. Look, there it is. Look.
Throw it.
It doesn't fly very well though.
Mine didn't either. And then what's good about it is they throw T-shirts and they have all kinds of.
Oh yeah.
They have all kinds. I mean, one day, where I was sitting, I caught 4 T-shirts.
Yeah, I know you're bad about catching everything. Why do they feel sorry for you up there?
I give mine away.
One thing, you're sitting back there by yourself and everybody sees you, don't they?
Well, the problem is, it's like the girls' game. There were 3 people at the girls' game, which I don't understand.
You mean wasn't a lot of people there?
There were 3 people watching the girls' game.
That's terrible.
That's terrible. These girls,
it's free, and it's free.
Oh, yeah, and you get in, and, I mean, you can sit there. I mean, you can sit anywhere. The girls, I mean, you can sit right on the front row.
That poorly...
Me and one of my buddies, we went. He didn't have nothing to do. I said, come on, let's go to the game. And we went, and I bet you there was 4 people. I mean, you can get T-shirts.
One thing, though, that's just not a good time during the week. That's supper time.
Well, yeah, and they play
5 o'clock,
and they play early, and everybody getting off work.
That's right. There are people still at work, and the students are going to the dining hall. In fact, I ate at the dining hall all by my lonesome, me and all my friends, let's just say that, and had a feast. I mean, let me tell you this. And you can eat at the dining hall anytime you want to, and the food is excellent, in my opinion. Of course, their breakfast in the morning is wonderful, especially with that huge Belgium waffle, and put fresh strawberries and whipped cream on it. Lord, it makes me hungry just thinking about it.
Maple syrup.
But last night, I walked in, like I said, by myself, and I walked in and I went through the regular dining line. They had country fried steak, which was very good. Mashed potatoes, green beans, corn, and real good homemade rolls. So I had a regular meal right there. And then I looked over at the where they make the pizzas. They make fresh pizzas every day, and they do it all day long, and the pizzas are outstanding, I'm telling you. So I went over and got me a couple of slices of pizza. Mm-hmm. Then I looked over to my right, and boy, there was some pasta and
chicken pasta.
Sort of with noodles.
Yeah, that's
pasta with noodles, and took in a little bit of that, and then the salad bar, and it is as good as any in town. Fresh green salad bar, and they had the prettiest cuts of fruit, and cantaloupe. See, I like cantaloupe. Mm-hmm. And they had some fresh cuts of cantaloupe. Now, I didn't eat any dessert, but there was cakes and cookies and ice cream and whatever you wanted for dessert. And I think I paid $10 or $10.50, and I could have stayed in there all night long if I wanted to.
Good deal.
And then there was a girl over in one area making spaghetti right in front of you. They had the noodles and the meat and made spaghetti. I could have eaten spaghetti. I could have eaten all day long. and it is open to the public. And of course it's got it. Well, I think it'll seat 1,000 people, something like that.
And the stadium that's coming up nice too. The end zone.
Oh yeah,
it's
looking
good.
Great, and in fact, the scoreboard will be operative if it's not already in operation now.
No,
it'll be in operation for the spring game, which is on April the 21st. So that'll be something to look forward to.
Yeah, we'll come out there and see and all that.
In fact, the stadium
club.
Well, the stadium club, that's where I'm gonna stay there. I mean, that's the best place in the world to watch a football game. And of course, they got 2 buffets and serve you food all day long now at the stadium club. And I'll probably stay there. But there are something like 400 seats available in the end zone. And they're going to be, I think they're going to do some kind of lottery drawing or something like that.
And then on that end, they're going to have the same thing the stadium club there. They're going to have a little, I think, a place where they can eat too if they buy those seats.
Yeah, but they will not have a buffet.
Okay.
Won't have a buffet. It'll be food that they can buy, but they will not have a buffet or anything indoors. All of the stadium club is going to be outdoors.
Yeah.
So right now the stadium club is indoors. You can, if it starts raining, you can come in and watch the game on TV, or if you want to watch 3 or 4 other games, you could do that too.
And it's like the alumni association. Y'all, if you become an alumni, y'all have a buffet too before the ball game.
Well, they have a box. Yeah, all the boxes have food, and they order what they want, and of course they order delicious food, and that's in the boxes. There are 27 boxes, and I think they still got some boxes available over there. I know there's still room in the. Somebody told me there was still something like 100 seats or more available for the stadium club. And of course, the stadium club holds well over 1,000 people. But and then of course they have 2 big buffets when you get there a couple hours before the game, and that buffet stays up through around halftime of the game. And then they start serving other foods, hamburgers, hot dogs, all day long.
And then I think about 4th quarter they have ice cream.
Ice cream at halftime, and it's just a wonderful way to support Troy University is by giving to the stadium club and enjoying football. You're also giving to the university, so that makes it awfully good. Charles Henderson High School girls basketball is on the air after winning their regional tournament down in the South Regional Tournament down in Dothan this past week. Charles Henderson Trojans, the #1 team in Class 5A, will be going head-to-head with the 4-time, not 3 times, but 4-time defending champion Winona High School of Birmingham. And that game will be, the tip-off for that game will be on, Wednesday. They'll play on Wednesday, Charles Henderson and Winona, and that's going to be quite a ball game, and it's going to be the location for the game is the Birmingham Jefferson Civic Center arena, which you can't miss it, located in downtown Birmingham, and should be quite a game, and we're looking forward to watching it. Of course, it'll be also televised, which is going to be great, and we'll be looking for that.
What's that going to be on, the 52? The game?
It'll be on that, what they call Bounce TV. I think that's what it'll be on. They call it Bounce TV. And again, Charles Henderson and Winona for the state championship. And the Dothan Eagle, I'm looking at it this morning, and it's not giving me any clear indication of times and for each game. So that's what I'm looking for right now. And oh yeah, here we go right here. High school basketball, boys, but now I got to get girls
What's this right
There it is right here. It is.
boys.
Yeah, I got you. You're right. You got it right here. The Charles Henderson and Winona play at 3 o'clock on Wednesday from the Birmingham Jefferson Civic Center. And ladies and gentlemen, the Trojans lost to Winona in overtime last year by 2 or 3 points. And it's going to be a great test. Now, this Charles Henderson girls team is coming into this tournament shooting the worst they've shot in the last 4 or 5 years.
They shot
percentage-wise, they're shooting something around 25%.
They shot 20% on the game they won the other day,
and still won the game with their defense.
Right.
But let me tell you this: I will make a statement here. If they don't shoot at least 40%, they won't have a chance against Winona. Winona will press them all over the field, all over the court, and that's why they're so good. And Charles Henderson, the way they're playing right now, they're going to lose in the first round. And the reason I say that is all you got to do is look at how poorly they've been shooting the basketball. Now, if they come out and shoot 40 to 50% from the field, they have a real good free throw shooting team. I think they can win it. But if they continue to shoot terrible like they've been lately from the field, they're going to be in for a long day on Wednesday. But hopefully this week to prepare is going to help them. Charles Henderson 30-4, Winona out of Birmingham 25-7 in Class 5A girls, and we're looking forward to that game. Eufaula boys 28-9 will play Winona 28-7 in a game right after the Charles Henderson girls and Winona girls, and that will be from the Birmingham Jefferson Civic Center. So a lot of good games. Mountain Brook made it to the championship again, and they're awfully good in basketball. Mountain Brook will play, well, let's see who they play. They should play Sparkman, I think. That's who they play. I'm not.
They're out of Huntsville, aren't they?
Yeah. But again,
Madison.
it's not as clear as it should be. The 7A boys,
Central,
you know what?
Central Phoenix City.
Yeah, they still got to play. Well, they beat, all right, Central Phoenix City and Mountain Brook.
Versus.
All right,
Mount.
1:30 on Thursday. They play Central. They play Central of Phoenix City. Mountain Brook is 32-4 against Central of Phoenix City. The other game in the other bracket, of course, it's the top 4 teams in the state playing in the tournament. McGill-Tulane out of Mobile 24-6, and Sparkman out of Huntsville is 30-4. So that's 7A. And in 6A boys, Carver Montgomery playing Hazel Green, and Paul Bryant playing Parker. In 4A, Andalusia boys versus Cordova. Andalusia 25-5, Cordova 24-9. And in the other bracket, you've got Greensboro 23-11 playing Madison Academy 23-8. That's in 4A, and hopefully Andalusia can win that tournament. The 3A boys, Hillcrest of Evergreen plays Lauderdale County. That's on Tuesday. And American Christian plays Plainview on Tuesday at 1:30. So now Sampson girls, and they're good. Class 2A girls, Sampson is 29-3 versus Phil Campbell 27-5. But look out for those North Alabama girls. They're awfully good usually. Keith is 17-8, Sand Rocks 22-8. They play their game at 6 o'clock on Monday. Sampson will play at 3 o'clock Monday. So you folks that love basketball, you'll want to get up there and watch some of that. Looking at 2A, no South Alabama team is in 2A. Well, excuse me, the 1A boys from Georgiana, 29-3, playing R.A. Hubbard, 27-6. They play Monday at 10:30. And the other bracket that is Cornerstone out of Birmingham, 26-8 against Sacred Heart, 21-10. They play Monday at 1:30, and so a lot of basketball. And if you like basketball, I can't think of a better place to be than the Birmingham Jefferson Civic Center, starting on Monday. Of course, Troy baseball, after a tough game at Auburn, losing 6-5 in the last inning of the game played on Wednesday. Now the Trojans jump out of the fire into the frying. Jump out of the frying pan into the fire.
They play Florida State.
Florida State, the number 3rd.
This whole weekend.
And they're the 3rd-ranked team in America. And Troy, of course, playing pretty good. They're 4-1 right now.
They won all the UT Martin. Didn't they beat them?
Yeah, they beat them 4 games. Beat them 4 games. Yeah. And so going to be a real good game. And I tell you, if I didn't have my hands full this weekend, I would be there and to watch all 3 of those games.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
That'd be a great trip to Tallahassee, which is just 2 hours away, and you can see some real good baseball all weekend long. I think the game starts at 3 o'clock today, and then the games tomorrow
or
Saturday
12.
They start at noon, and the other one on Sunday starts at noon.
That's right. And then we're back at February 28th. It gets here, UAB.
Yeah, UAB ought to be a good game, too. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back.
Did you know at Wiley Sanders Truck Line that we offer Blue Cross Blue Shield, we offer dental, we offer disability, we offer vision, we offer life insurance, cancer insurance. We also have a 401k where we match up to 4%, dollar per dollar up to 4%. We also have automatic trucks at Wiley Sanders Truck Line. If you go to a truck driving school, we'll reimburse you. And don't forget about the $1,000 sign-on bonus. Money! Wiley Sanders Truck Line, Troy, Alabama. Wiley Sanders Truck Line. We help you save for your future.
Life is hectic enough without worrying if your lights will stay on or if there's hot water for your child's bath. So count on natural gas to keep the energy flowing, even when the weather is unpredictable. Natural gas is always there to keep your home warm, showers hot, and food cooked to perfection. That's why America has relied on safe and affordable natural gas for more than 150 years. And we will be here for you and future generations too. You can count on natural gas from Southeast Alabama Gas District.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands,
one nation under God, indivisible,
with liberty and justice for all.
Here at Town & Country, we are proud to be an American.
We've had you covered on the inside since 2005, and with our addition of Southern Grill and Patio, we now have you covered on the outside. Come see our great selection, where we make sure grilling and relaxing go hand in hand.
Have you seen an increase in your insurance premiums or significant change in your insurance coverage? Let Sandbeck Insurance offer you a better plan to suit your business or personal needs. Sandbeck Insurance offers many lines of insurance, whether it's home, farm, or auto insurance, work comp, business, or health and life policies. Sandbeck is here for you. Call or visit our Troy, Enterprise, or Andalusia office today. Sandbeck Insurance, where we take pride in taking care of your insurance.
Back to our show, ladies and gentlemen. I hope everybody's doing well today on a Friday. Thank goodness it's Friday, and we're getting ready for a lot of games being played in basketball. And of course, as we talk about basketball, the championships start next week from Birmingham, and of course we've got a few teams from our area. Of course, Charles Simpson girls. You follow boys. Let's see, Andalusia's boys are still in it. Sampson's girls are still in it, playing for a state championship. Hillcrest of Evergreen boys are still in it. Boy, they're good. They won the state championship in football. Now they're 22-3 in basketball. So don't be surprised if Hillcrest doesn't win another one. St. Luke's is still in it for, of course, they're out of Mobile. But other than that, Georgiana is the other team that is still in the basketball tournament. So still 3 or 4 good opportunities for South Alabama teams to bring home the championship, and should be good. And most all of these games can be seen on Bounce TV. I think that's 102, something like that, on our. Good morning. You're on Today in L.A. How you doing?
Morning.
Mike Amos calling in from Birmingham. I want you to know those hats that you made were really, really nice, and I really like them.
Yeah, well, that was Wagner's Team Sports. We have embroidery in our warehouse in Tuscaloosa, so if anybody ever needs hats, that's something that we could get done in a day if we have it in stock. So.
I tell you what, I like the quality of the hat. It's a light hat, and of course the.
You want to say hey? Say hey, your granddad.
Hey, Mary Prater. Hey, Mary Prater.
Mary Prater's eating a muffin right now.
Hey, sweetheart. I'll be up there to see him.
Troy looked like they played against a bunch of football players last night.
Mike, that was one of the best teams that's been in that gym in a long time. I'm telling you.
I mean, I can't believe how big those guys were on TV.
Oh, and what did they? Troy played them tough, but
but
that team.
Bernardo got foul trouble. We were in trouble. You got to have a big body.
But Mike, he did not have a good game. He had only 4
points.
What?
5 points.
That's all he scored. You're right, and he just.
That's what's so weird.
He missed some layups, Mike, that Frank Sadler Jr. could have made, and that's pretty doggone bad.
They were right under the thing and couldn't lay it up. I mean, it was sad.
Bernardo scored 30 points the last game and scores 5.
Yeah.
Person got hot there.
Person was hot, and they didn't get the ball to him at the end. He was the only one that was really hot, and they didn't get the ball to him like they should have. Now, Hicks also played good last night for Troy.
Yeah, he scored 14. Baker comes off the bench now for Troy, but he's taking last-minute threes, and he's not the guy you want shooting the ball.
No, you're right. I tell you who played great, Mike, and he's going to be a great player, is this Johnson kid, the freshman.
Yeah, I saw he had some big threes.
Man, he's 6'7", and he plays outside and has great range.
Yeah, he's just got to get bigger and stronger, though. Boy, he is a skinny guy. Yeah. He's got to gain about 20 pounds on the weight.
Yeah, he does, but he is quick, and, they signed him out of Decatur. I mean, he comes very well, they've got him out of Decatur, and they got this kid out of, I reckon he's out of Lee. Is that a Lee, or is he out of Carver?
Carver.
Out of Carver, and he's got a chance to be good. And
he's actually kind of gotten worse as the season got on, though, as far as the shot. He played better early in the season.
But I will tell you, though, it's
Troy. I never realized Troy missed Walker this much. A real tough defensive-minded player that can guard people. The guy that transferred from Florida.
Yeah,
well, they have really missed him this year.
Well, I'll tell you the secret to the whole ball game. Troy missed over 10 foul shots. Over 10 foul shots, maybe 15.
Well, that's the difference in the game. It's
it's a huge difference in the game. And they didn't miss hardly one. They were great from the free throw line. Let me tell you, coach, shoot free throws, shoot free throws, shoot free throws. You can actually control how good you are from the line by practicing and working on free throws. Don't you agree?
Oh, there's no doubt.
Shooting free throws is not a God-given talent. It's a talent that you work for and you learn to shoot them.
I'll tell you what, if you had told any Troy fan or the coaching staff that right now, with 2 games left in conference play, they'd be 13 and 15, I think everybody would be in shock.
Yeah, we thought that this was one of the best Troy teams ever.
22 games last year and went to the NCAA tournament. It's maybe not even going to get to 15 wins, which is just unbelievable. But, I mean, I guess you got to look back to when Bernardo got hurt.
Yeah, that had a lot to do with it.
And that had to affect some wins. But I tell you, it's been disappointing for that coaching staff because these guys eventually just got to play.
But again, free throws killed them. I know this. I'll tell you something too. In the second half, They went to the line, I think, 17 times in the second half. Troy went to the line 9 times.
Yeah. I tell you, Troy's been brutal at home these last several years. They just not very good at home.
I'll tell you something else too. We had a great crowd as far as the students, but our in-town fan base didn't show up last night. It was terrible.
I saw it. It looked horrible.
I mean, there wasn't anybody on your road back there, was it?
I had about let's see. I had nobody on my row, I don't think.
Division I basketball, Mike. If we were in, we were in Birmingham, they'd fill it up every weekend. But
you're playing a team that had won 24 games, probably one of the best Sun Belt teams in years.
24-4.
And Mike, they were, like you said, all were grown men. You didn't see anybody that wasn't real physical. I mean, like Bernardo, how physical he is. These guys without physical Bernardo.
Did you get to see former Troy women's coach Michael Murphy?
Yeah, oh yeah, man. He flaunted it around. And I'm being facetious. He's a good friend of mine. But you could tell he was taking it in, man. I don't know if he's a full-time coach or not. I think he might be a consultant.
No, he's their player personnel director.
Oh, player personnel. I know they had about 6 guys in coats and ties on their bench.
He sits right next to the head coach.
Oh yeah,
yeah, he was there.
His wife, I know he does, and his wife still lives here in town. His wife and son, and his son plays baseball for Wallace Dothan, I think.
Yeah, son's a catcher.
Yeah, good player, no question about it. And
I hate it for those players. I mean, they've got to be to the point where they're just like, why does somebody come watch us play?
Yeah.
I mean, it really is sad.
Yeah.
But see, when you watch it on TV like I do, you would think there's literally like 500 people there.
It's really embarrassing.
On television across the way, it looks like there's just nobody at the game.
Yeah, I know. You're right. Face another way. You're right.
So I don't know what's going on. I just don't know what else would have been going on in Troy on a Thursday night. But,
yeah, no question about it.
Wouldn't have been packed.
And it's a great opportunity. I've got a call coming in. I'll put you on hold. Hold on a minute.
All right.
We're going to stick you on hold. And good morning. You're on Today in L.A. How you doing?
Mike, it's Max. How you this morning?
Max Howell. How you doing, my friend?
Well, the weather, we had 5 inches of rain yesterday and the sun's shining today.
Is it coming this way? You live in Fulton, Mississippi, is that right?
That's right. No, it's swinging north, Mike. It came out of Arkansas, coming across, going through North Alabama and up the coast.
So you get you're in northern Mississippi where it's a little bit colder than southern Mississippi. Is that right?
Normally it is, but I will tell you, today 78, 82 tomorrow.
Yeah.
All right. Here.
All right, Max. If I lose you, please call me right back. I'm going to put you on the line. We're going to get a 3-way call here. So hold on 1 minute. All right, are you both on? Mike, are you on?
Yes.
Or Max, is this you? All right, Mike, you're on. All right, let's get Max. All right, who's on? Mike, you?
Yeah, I'm on.
All right, here we go.
You lost Max.
Oh, boy.
Max Howell?
Yeah, I had Max Howell on.
Here?
What?
Yeah, he's here.
All right, Max, you're here? Max, are you on?
Hello?
Yeah, all right, Max is on. Mike, are you on? We got Max Howell on right now, and of course, calling in from Fulton, Mississippi. Max, what's been going on since football? You've taken a vacation for a while, is that right?
Yeah, we're getting ready to try to get our show started for next fall, Mike. We've been on the road trying to sell it, and we'll be probably back on the Alabama Cable Network, which is Charter in Alabama.
Well, that's good, yeah.
And just kind of stirring that up. I'll be going to. I covered a lot of recruiting at the end of the recruiting season on signing day, and then of course I'll be at spring training. I've been trying to follow the moves for the different coaches. SEC's got 6 new coaches right now, so a lot to do right now and get ready for next fall.
Yeah. Have you talked to your friend at LSU? Is he still on the staff at LSU?
He is now retired. He runs training camps for the NFL.
Okay.
Pete Jenkins, longtime friend, coached at Troy with us years ago, and has had just a remarkable career. But Mike, I talked to him, and you could identify with this. I watched him in the game against Notre Dame in the Citrus Bowl, and I noticed him sitting down on the sideline. So I called him the next day. He said he done got too old to run game. He's 76 years old.
Oh yeah.
And was still working the sidelines during the ball games this past year at LSU. So he's had a great career, 40 years on the field at every level, all the way to the NFL. And he's sitting back now. He's becoming like a consultant.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And dealing with the defensive fronts across the country. But what a great guy! What a great career he's had.
You know, I'm surprised in a way. I know you got into talk radio and in a big way in Atlanta, but you're still in great shape. You could still be coaching. Don't you agree?
I think so. Yeah, I've been fortunate. I've had very little. No, I fell out of a truck when I was 7. broke my back in a couple of places.
How did you fall out of the truck, Max?
I was, I'd written a couple of cookbooks, so I'd ordered, 1,000 cookbooks or so, and they came in, and I was unloading them off a truck on a wet Friday night, and I picked up a box, and my foot slipped out, and I fell off a platform.
Oh, boy.
And landed on my back and broke it in about 3 places.
I didn't realize that. Of course, now, for years, you've been an avid weightlifter. Do you work with weights anymore at all?
Just light reps, Mike. I try to walk or jog, 2 or 3 days a week, and I lift just light stuff, just try to keep tone more than anything.
Do you still do push-ups and sit-ups and things like that?
Yeah, the days of heavy.
That's the old school, isn't it? Push-ups and sit-ups.
Yeah, I can do. I still do. I get up every morning, do a little routine, and I walk. And try to keep.
You guys, and all right. Bud Casey was the same way. Bud worked out all the time, and did those things that he could do. And of course, Jim Tompkins, our good friend, still does it. But people that worked out were college athletes that are college coaches that worked out back in the '60s, late '50s and '60s. They work out all their life, don't they?
Yeah, it becomes a lifestyle, Mike.
Yeah.
My dad put me on a program when I was 15 years old, and that was in 1955.
Yeah, you had an advantage over a lot of people because everybody didn't work that way. You saw me as a high school athlete. I was 6'1" and weighed 175 to 180 pounds. I wasn't big enough or strong enough to play big-time college football, right. But I had the guts and the willpower to be good. Right. So if we'd had a weight program that have made us strong, no telling how good our team would have been.
No doubt, Mike, and that was the change. And I gave every bit of the credit for what little success I had because I wasn't tall. I was 5'10" and a half, but I weighed 225, and I weighed 4'6" coming out of high school.
Yeah, that's right.
And I benched about at 300 pounds and was squatting over 450 when I was in high school. So nobody in Alabama basically was doing that.
Did you coach Danny Grant and Joe Kelly at Carroll of Ozark?
Absolutely.
All right. Out of all the teams that we played against, and that includes Dothan High and all of them, they were the only ones that were really working out with weights, and you were the reason.
That's true. Yep, I can't.
And you could see it. And when we play y'all in basketball, I say, golly, look at those arms and look at those legs. Well, they've been working out.
Well, we started early. And all I did was take what I had learned and put it. And you and I have talked about this when we came through, particularly at Troy. The football program, basically then, Mike, was to learn to coach.
Yeah.
It didn't have a lot to do with winning and losing.
Yeah, I know it.
Remember that?
And you went to. If you wanted to coach, ladies and gentlemen, hear this. If you wanted to coach, Troy State Teachers College, Troy State College was as good a place as you could go.
I don't tell you any of that, Mike. There was 3.
Think of all the great coaches that came out that played with you at Troy.
I'm telling you, everywhere in the South, Troy was the by
far. Oh yeah.
I left Auburn mainly. I mean, I wasn't playing because I wasn't tall enough, but I came to Troy because I wanted to coach football. I wanted to coach from the time I was 10 years old.
Yeah.
And I knew that was the best place in this part of the country. If you remember, Mike, you had Bill Clemson had a PhD. me, and Rudy Argini.
That's right. Rudy Argini, Frank cuts his grass. I got Frank Sadler Jr. sitting next to me. Of course, we just got off the phone with his daddy. His daddy's up in Chattanooga now in an assisted living facility.
Is that right?
Yeah.
But now his daddy was a Troy guy. I'm going to just throw some of them out. His daddy was a great Troy guy and was an outstanding coach. Wouldn't you say that?
Oh, I don't think there's any doubt.
You know. In fact,
Frank, I got to tell you this, Mike. When I went to Florida State in 1987, Frank was the offensive coordinator at South Carolina. Had just been the coordinator at South Carolina.
Yeah.
And he had just moved to Chattanooga. Well, I called Frank to get some tips on how the offensive system worked, because I was coaching defense at Florida State with Mickey Andrews.
Yeah.
And basically, I got some tips from Frank on how to beat South Carolina. And Billy Dunn was the defensive coach.
Yeah, I know. He was like Coach Sadler's son almost.
Yeah, that's right. So let me just tell you, I called and got 3 or 4 tips. The first 3 snaps we had the ball, we scored on.
Yeah.
I picked up tips from what Frank told us. So absolutely, I credit a lot of success to dealing with Frank Sadler.
You know, and of course you coached with Coach Bobby Bowden in his heyday. You know, Florida State just dominated back then, and you know, he was a wise old owl. You know, the thing about him, and people laugh, said, "Oh, that fumble roosty," or "Oh, that fake kick." Hey, he tried to trick you every time he went to the huddle, didn't he?
The guy, let me tell you, we had practice sessions during, back in those days we had 2 a day, sometimes we had 3 a day.
Sure, yeah.
And that was and one of those sessions every day was special teams. And that's what we worked on. We worked on disguise, he called it disguise plays. We disguise one look and run something else. We line up in front formation and snap it short and run
That's right. But he was always trying to fool folks, wasn't he?
Exactly right, and it worked.
Yeah, but you know what? I don't know why anybody from Troy would ever like him, because he beat Troy 80-0. Were you on that team? I hate to say you were, weren't you?
No, I was hurt. I had broken my ankle at Tampa.
Yeah.
2 weeks before. I was in the stands and watched that ball game that night, though, I will tell you.
Yeah. You know what's funny? I got some friends that were in South Carolina, and I had a buddy of mine. He said, "Hey, I need a playbook of your old daddy's, like in the 84s when he's at South Carolina." I said, "I'll ask him, but I don't know if he'll give me one to send you."
Yeah. But you just look at all the great coaches. The great coach at Coach Wood out of Elba, great coach, played with you. Max Howell, great coach, played at Troy. Frank Sadler, great coach, played at Troy. Coach over at Central Phoenix City, Trawick, played at Troy.
Yeah.
Jim Tompkins, great coach, played at Troy. John Fairclough, great coach, played at Troy. Don't you agree? You could go over and over. The longtime coach at Geneva, and you loved him from Op. He was from Griffin. Coach Griffin, great coach. He coached at Goshen, coached at Geneva. Max Griffin played at Troy. The head coach at Dothan High School, he played at Troy. Coach Glasscock that coached at won a state championship at Prattville, played at Troy. You can just go over and over and over, and these guys got a physical education degree to coach. Yep. Exactly right, wasn't it?
And no doubt about that, Mike. We go back to the state. What we learned how to coach.
Exactly.
The techniques of coaching. And I think that's what's different today. And this is what I've said for a long time, Mike, that a lot of great athletes do not make great coaches because their ability was so easy for them. It was guys like myself and Jim Tompkins and that bunch that had to really work to learn, how to coach. And I think that's what carried us through. I'll be honest with you.
Yancey, the great coach at Viger, played at Troy. Our old buddy who used to work for an insurance business. Parker White played at Troy. You could just go on and on and on. and guys off that team. What's that old crazy linebacker we had from from Robert E. Lee? What's his name? His linebacker. He coached at Prattville and coached at Wetumpka. But you could just go on and on. And,
Holly.
Oh yeah, Maurice Holly. How do you remember Maurice Holly? How do you? You're right. And they all played at Troy, and every coach in South Alabama, and a lot of them took Clemson's passing game, and were very successful with it. Do you remember that?
Listen, Mike, he was way ahead of teaching the game, and I think that's where that set him apart. What the difference is though, because of their limited facilities, and didn't have a big budget, like a lot of, like Troy does today, for example.
Yeah, that's right.
The fact is, you learn how to coach. Winning wasn't that important in those days.
No, it wasn't.
I remember, being told, well,
Clemson kept his job for 10 years, and he didn't have a one winning season.
Exactly right. That's what I said, but it wasn't important.
Yeah.
What was important was getting those kids graduated and getting them a job.
Yeah. Bobby Murchison played at Troy. Right. Bobby Ross Phillips played at Troy and coached. We're all outstanding coaches. Bobby Ross over in Georgia, and a lot of those guys went to Georgia and Florida. A bunch of them went to South Florida and were successful coaches. Bobby Ross. Do you remember a guy named Bobby Ross?
Yeah, oh, yeah. Let me tell you, Mike, the reason he went to Florida because the money was bigger.
Exactly. A lot better.
Florida. And the teaching salary was bigger, and of course the coaching supplement was bigger in those days.
I can remember so well. Exactly.
Today, though.
No question about it. And of course, in the coaching world, Troy was very well respected. And like you said, you could go to Miami area, you could go to the Tampa area, or the all over Florida. They like you said, they paid more and they appreciated Troy coaches.
They did.
Marvin Wiley went and was a very successful coach at Auburndale High School. And became mayor of Auburndale.
Is that right? I didn't know that.
Exactly. Yeah. No question about it. But you could just go on and on and on. And like I've got the Archer reunion coming up this weekend, and I was looking at some of those guys, and a lot of them became great coaches.
Well, that was what Troy was known for in those days.
I'll tell you,
get athletes in there, and you could. They had an adequate program, but that wasn't the emphasis. Was not winning. And I think that's when you and I've had this conversation before. I was so pleased to have spent a couple of years in high school and get back on the Billy Atkins staff to come there.
Exactly.
The whole attitude changed then when Billy came in.
Yeah, no question about it.
It became all about winning.
And even Billy, as successful he was as a high school coach, but then more than anything, what a great pro player he was and how long he'd been in it. But he had respect for Clemson's passing game. He would have had to.
Absolutely.
You know what? I think the biggest change in weightlifting is a huge thing right now, more than anything. But nutrition and food is the big difference. Now, back when we might get an extra you remember when we go through the dining hall line, they might give you an extra roll, and that would be all the difference. And now you sit down and can eat all day long, and then of course they give them nutrition, vitamins, and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big difference in the quality of athlete today.
I don't think it, and I think, Mike, in all fairness, we were there during the cutting edge as that started discriminating. You know who one of the leaders in that field was? Was Nick Costes.
Oh, yeah.
Nick Costes was one of the leaders because he taught kinesiology, but he was a huge track guy. But he understood the difference in nutrition.
Yeah.
What it did for you as far as endurance, building strength, and
well, today they would probably put Nick in jail. You remember he used to drop his drawers and show you a muscle. You remember that? I mean, he was one of the. He knew more about the bone structure in a man than most doctors knew. Don't you agree?
Oh, I don't think it's any doubt.
You know, he taught kinesiology. You know.
Remember one time he ran from Atlanta to Troy.
Oh yeah.
I can just go down and tell you some stories about.
Oh yeah, no question about it. But
he was one of the he was there during the cutting edge of of programs, and I think those are little things that stand out about that program years ago that I think may have gotten lost in history.
I was telling some people this morning on the show about I ate at the college dining hall last night. And they have a tremendous new facility here at Troy. And I could have stayed there all night long and ate great food and so forth. But, they used to be so skimpy. And, I remember boycotting the old dining hall before, that was really something.
Mike, I remember that. But you know what's when you start talking about eating at Troy, the first thing that jumps out in my mind?
But I'll tell you right now, scrambled egg sandwiches.
That's right. Well,
scrambled egg sandwiches in the morning right there at the student center.
That was my favorite.
Scrambled egg sandwiches. How much do they cost? What, 79 cents? I don't even know.
Yeah, it was less than $1.
Yeah, exactly. You're exactly right. And those Bass-Weejuns, you wore Bass-Weejuns.
That's right.
And you wore Jansen sweaters.
That's right.
And of course, you used to have dances at Kilby Hall. You remember that?
Oh, yeah.
And the teenage canteen downtown where all the locals went. Jimmy's Tavern, Jimmy Ballard's, where they handed out switchblades at the door, didn't he?
That was, I'm telling you, man, that was one of my favorites.
Hey, back then, Max,
Santa Claus used to hold court out there on Saturday night.
And you know what the difference is now. Kids don't know how tough it was. You go to the beach. If you went to the hangout, you just knew that you're going to be in a fist fight, maybe 3 or 4. I mean, everywhere you went, there was a fight. Somebody got their feelings hurt. Well, you know what kids say today? Back when my son was growing up, you know what he'd say? He said, "I'll find me another girlfriend." You can have her. I'll find me another girlfriend. Well, back then, you say something, you mess with your girlfriend, you knew you were going to be in a fist fight.
Exactly right. And if you went there, you better expect that.
Yeah. That's why our group, our age group, Max, is much more hard-nosed than the kids growing up today.
I don't think it's any
doubt. Don't you agree? I mean, because you were constantly having to defend your pride. Right. And we all had a lot of pride, didn't we?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we grew up that way, Mike.
And you were from Prattville, and you couldn't be prouder. If you couldn't hear us, you'd yell a little louder. I'm from Troy, and I couldn't be prouder. Yep. I'd fight you over my hometown, wouldn't you?
Absolutely, man.
Man, I was from Troy, and I was proud of it.
That was a way of life.
That's right. And of course, our daddies. Hey. When our daddy told us to do something, to mow the grass, sweep the leaves, or pick up trash, or whatever, if we didn't do it, we knew that he was going to call me back in the back room. He was going to take his belt off his pants and wear my butt out, and I don't care if I was a senior in high school. Hey, he was the king of the road. But you know what? As long as I obeyed what he told me to do, I didn't get those whippings.
Well, you know what? And times though that you do, I mean, it was just not only expected, but you knew you had to go do it. It was just part of being raised.
Exactly right. And those guys, and then most of my daddies and your daddy, most of them went to war. Hey, playing football's a piece of cake compared to dodging bullets.
Yeah, my dad was at Alabama on a basketball scholarship when the World War II broke out, and he left school and joined the Navy. I mean, that's
been out on the boat, not knowing when that torpedo was going to hit their boat.
exactly right.
And I mean, they worried about their life, and then of course, when they came home in the late 40s, and they call them what do they call those? That group of people that were born after they got all out of the army.
Baby
boomers. And hey, that was a different breed of cat right there.
It absolutely was, and I think that was the greatest era in this country.
Oh yeah.
Everybody came back to work.
You meet a guy down that's working at the barber shop or as a mechanic downtown or as a local policeman. He might have fought for 3 or 4 years over in Germany and killed people, and I mean, most of those people, those veterans, had a story to tell, and us boys, all we had to worry about was what time football practice was.
Exactly right, and that's the truth.
And
I've seen, you've seen pictures recently where they put pictures up. One they're showing 18-year-old in the 40s rushing a beach somewhere with a gun in his hand.
Exactly.
And then you're showing an 18-year-old today looking for a safe space.
You're exactly right.
Hurt his feelings.
Oh yeah, let me tell you this, and you know what? If it weren't for those men, we'd be speaking German today.
You are absolutely right.
We would be speaking German and eating Wiener Schnitzel or whatever you call them.
That is so true.
Because Max Howell, ladies and gentlemen, well-known football coach and well-known TV personality, and a lot of people that are not familiar with Max. Of course, you coached at Ole Miss, you coached at Florida State, you coached Emmett Smith at Pensacola High School or Escambia. You've been around and you've done that as much as anybody, but talk radio, when did you realize that might be a way of life for you?
I'll tell you what, I left Ole Miss.
Coffee.
Yeah, I was the last job I had on the field was at Ole Miss in 1991, I believe, early 92. And I was writing a magazine. I was doing the junior college recruiting at that time. I was living in Oxford. And basically, I had a buddy of mine that had a radio show in Atlanta, and he asked me one morning to be on it. One thing led to another, and the Cumulus group had not started yet, and they were looking for sports personalities that had coached to talk on the air. And I just fell into it one day. The next thing I know, I moved to Atlanta, and I was there 11 years.
Yeah, I tell you what, when I'd call in, I said, Max, this is Mike Amos. You remember me when we were at Troy? You remember me, don't you? You'd got to be a celebrity, man.
Well, I was fortunate. I got in.
Hey, you knew all the big wigs in Atlanta, and that was something, wasn't it?
Well, we covered the Braves. We covered the Falcons. We had we're the only sports talk people in Atlanta, Mike, for 4 or 5 years.
And you know what? You think about this, and I know you had a nice place where you lived and so forth. Atlanta's a great, fun town. You knew where Studebaker's was, and you knew where some of those great places were. You also knew where Johnny's Hideaway was.
Johnny's Hideaway still operates.
I know it. It's one of the great places in the world to go.
He is.
But another thing about Max Howell back then, you could go to any athletic event in Atlanta and walk in without a ticket.
That's very true.
And that was saying a lot right there now.
It was huge.
And then you could go down in the dugout or in the dressing room after the game, and everybody said, well, that's Max Howell, He's going to interview you or whatever.
Yeah, Bobby Cox had us down there before the game and after the game with the Braves. And of course, Jim Jones was the head coach of the Falcons at that time, and we could go anywhere we wanted to. We was at practice every day. I mean, those were times when it was talk radio was just starting in this part of the country. Yeah. Remember, we were the first sports talk station in Atlanta.
That's right. Yeah.
There was nobody else doing that.
They started doing it in Montgomery with Jim Fife. He came, but that was after you had done all your stuff, and then you'd had the bunch out of a few groups out of Birmingham, but none more prolific than yours, no question about it. You know, Max, doing all of that, you knew all these great athletes and great coaches and all that. They're just regular folks, aren't they? I mean,
Yeah, they
Bobby
were.
Cox was just a regular guy, wasn't he?
He was that. I mean, absolutely. He had his ups and downs, and of course, he's ended up being a Hall of Fame manager. But just remember too, Mike, it was a lot about talent. They had the three of the greatest pitchers.
Oh, no question.
With Maddox, with Maddox and Glavine and Smokes.
Oh, I know it. The only one I could think of, it might have been as good with Bob Lemon, Bob Fella, and Early Wynn.
That's very close.
Those were all good too.
And all of that, Mike, the Braves only won one world championship.
That's right.
The run support, I could tell you a lot about those guys. It was a situation where they all relied on the pitching. How many games did the Braves lose 2-1?
Yeah.
They'd have great pitching and no run support.
No question about it.
It was amazing at that time how it is, but I love to look back and think about those.
All right, Max, I've got a call coming in. Hold on, I'll put you on hold. Mike, is that you? We're calling in. Who's on the phone, please? All right, here we go. Max Howell, back to Max. Is that right, Max?
Yeah, here we go. Yes.
Of course, talking to Max Howell, and of course you got to know some of the, like Phil Necro. What kind of fellow was Phil Necro?
Oh man, you know what? Phil used to call the show. Let me tell you, Phil used to call the show from his fishing boat out there at Lake up at Lake Martin.
Yeah.
He'd be out there. I mean, he'd be out there fishing and call us from his boat.
Oh yeah.
He was a great guy. The biggest thing, and not only was he a great athlete, a great pitcher, but he spun off and started a female baseball team, and had big time sponsors. And I went out and threw the first pitch out at one of his ball games and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But those kind of things today, Mike, those guys are still around. But I mean, I was in Atlanta when Jones first was signed. I had a chance to have him on over and over and over. Of course, Chipper just going into the Hall of Fame now.
And of course,
all the people that went through that organization.
Yeah. And see, your show was at the end of the day where you got all the rush hour traffic, so you had a fan base of probably 2 or 3 million people. Right, trying to get home. I mean, it was a war. I mean, in Atlanta, it was a war just to drive home in the afternoon, wasn't it?
It is. I mean, you've seen 285 out there, and either 75, 85, 4 lanes on both sides,
Yeah.
up to a dead stop.
And it's worse now than ever. It's worse now than ever. But you know what though? You were their relaxation. The guy that's stuck in traffic for 2 or 3 hours every day.
That's right.
They could tune in and talk to Max Howell and your buddy who played at Georgia. What's his name?
Buck Bellew.
Yeah, Buck Bellew. What kind of guy was old Buck Bellew? You actually introduced him to radio, didn't you?
Yeah, but Buck stumbled around a lot of times trying to get things going. We got him back at the station in Atlanta, and he's still there, by the way.
He was a pretty boy now. All the girls liked him, didn't he?
Yeah, well, he is. And he waited till he was about 30 years old to marry, and he's got about 4 kids now. And they all going to be great athletes.
All right, now another guy. Everybody talks about the owner, the guy that practically built Atlanta, and of course was married to a movie star. But the owner of the Braves, what kind of fellow was he?
Oh, well, he was married.
No, he started CNN. What was his name?
He was right. Well, if you hadn't asked me, I'd have told you. That's where we first started, in the CNN building right there.
Yeah. Oh, that was a perfect place.
On the first floor, Mike. And of course, he also owned the WWE wrestling group.
Oh, did he really?
Yeah, and those wrestlers would come by and stick their head in the window where we'd be doing a morning show sometimes, and it was hilarious.
But he was a billionaire, but he just loved sports, and I'm sure you became good friends with him, didn't you?
Well, he would stop by. We were in his building. See, the studio rented from him. Well, in fact, he actually owned WCW.
What was his name, Steve? The owner of CNN. Started CNN.
Well, he started the TV, the radio 680 The Thing is what ended up 680 The Fan.
That's right.
Was the audio version of WCNN TV.
Yeah.
And he broke that off and kept the TV. And you know, he ended up selling that to Time
Ted
Warner.
Turner.
Ted Turner. And we still watch his movies every day. But he was just a regular guy. He was a ball guy. He was a big Georgia Tech guy, wasn't he?
He was he went to some private school up in the East.
I mean, I know he was wealthy all his life, but
Right, he was. His dad started a billboard business.
Yeah.
And he took that and spun it off out there. He was a promoter.
And he married Jane Fonda. You remember that?
And she worked. Let me tell you, Jane Fonda would walk by the studio every morning. She had she worked out in a fitness facility right next to the studio.
Yeah.
And she'd have on a long coat, glasses, and a hat. Nobody knew who she was.
Yeah.
But that was even. Remember, that was after the Hanoi deal she pulled when she bashed the troops in Vietnam.
Yeah. The early Atlanta days. Our friend Gary Spillers wrote that book about the parties that they used to have at all these apartment complexes. You remember that? Every weekend you went from one apartment complex to another, and they were having huge parties at every one of them. And he wrote a book about it. The heyday of Atlanta, early growth, was probably one of the fun places to live in America, wouldn't you think?
I will tell you this. My first partner on air was a guy named Chris Morgan. And Chris had been a DJ at a music station there. Now, remember now, in the 70s, this is when a lot of the radio stations was really exploding in the market across country. Chris Morgan was making $200,000 and $300,000 a year, Mike.
And that was a bunch back then, wasn't it?
And it was payola. The record companies would come by and leave you $1,000 just to play their records.
Yeah.
And now, of course, the other fun thing about Chris, he was married 7 times.
Oh gosh. Oh man, that was unreal.
You talk about a trip.
Well, that was a fun time and a lot of great places to go. I used to love to travel over there, and people, friends of mine that grew up, like right out of Troy in '70 was the heyday of Atlanta, the growth of Atlanta.
It was.
I remember I worked over there during the summers, and Carlin Black Label had their big brewery there, and every Friday you could go over there and drink free beer, and then you go to the ball game. That was rough, man. That was rough life.
Well, it was to see that in the airport. It just started to develop over there. Remember, that was a bidding war.
Oh yeah, that's where we went at night. Was the airport? That was the most exciting place. Was the airport?
Exactly right. And that was the anchor that really caused Atlanta to explode.
Yeah.
Population-wise.
And they had a place downtown called the Domino Club. You remember that?
I remember that.
All right, hey, you're liable to go in there one night, and then the guy to get on the mic and say, "Well, we've got a special group that just walked in, and they said they'll sing a few songs for me. Their name is the Temptations, or the Four Tops. You're liable to see any of those guys. They were Atlanta born and bred."
Very true, man. That was the days now. Of course, it's gotten so big now. I think Atlanta's like 6 million people right now.
Oh,
I was there
huge.
about 4.5.
Yeah, it's huge.
And that was huge. That was bigger than the population of the
Exactly.
state of Alabama at that time, just in Atlanta.
Yeah, I don't know if it's the fun place it used to be, but
No, I think it's gotten. They kind of broken off. The all of that 5 or 6 county area was considered the metropolitan area of Atlanta. I think now those individual towns have come to Peachtree City.
Oh yeah.
All those towns outside have kind of.
Well, everybody used to go. They go to the beach and they ride down the beach, and during spring break, and there's just hundreds and thousands of people walking up down the beach. What was that main road, Main Street there in Atlanta? Right down through the what?
At Peachtree?
Yeah, Peachtree. You go down Peachtree back in the 60s and 70s, it was one huge party all the way for miles and miles.
Yeah,
and that was during the week. Just so much going on. And, of course, that was a young person's town.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, there were so many people there.
But the key to all of this is the key to everything in life today. Is girls, 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 girls. Girls outnumbered the boys in Atlanta back in the 60s and 70s. Something like 60 or 70%. It was unbelievable. The number, the population of girls. All these girls were getting jobs in Atlanta, you know.
That's right. You could go get a job there.
Yeah, you remember that? And the girls outnumbered the boys. And so what I'm saying, you never had a hard time finding a date.
No, and that's why the nightlife there was so big.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that was a huge industry mainly it was because of the jobs. The airport brought the corporations there, and the corporations hired the people.
Yeah, you remember Fridays when Fridays opened up in Buckhead? Fridays. You remember that?
Yeah, we used to do remotes from those places.
Yeah, all the time. It was, and that was the place you went, you know, and it was right there in Buckhead, and you know that's a yuppie place, you know.
That's very true.
Isn't that amazing?
It is. You know, those memories. That's something I don't usually think about.
But now you work mostly afternoons. You weren't a big morning person, were you? Didn't you work mostly afternoons?
I did, Mike. I did all three. I started off. My first job there was from 9 to 2. I did a 5-hour midday show.
So that means everybody's at work.
They're right. Well, we had. You know what? Our biggest remotes went lunch.
Yeah, I got you. Hey, you probably got fat back there because you were getting free lunch every day.
I'm telling you, Mike, we did. The reason is because in Atlanta, there wasn't no such thing as an hour. It was a 2-hour lunch break for most people. The corporate world was always 2 hours, and you know we'd go to those different bars around town, and and we'd stay. When the show was over, we'd stay till midnight.
Well, I'm sure. Yeah. You had places you go, and that's where you made your money, wasn't it?
Exactly right. Exactly right.
You know, these bars would pay you to come and do a deal at their deal. Is that right? And you got free food, free brew.
Those are the glory days. They don't do that anymore. Not at that level.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna tell you, my my tax returns in those days was more than 6 figures.
Yeah, I know, and you did a great job, and we could hear you all the way. Especially in Montgomery, I could hear you in Montgomery. I worked in Montgomery, and I kept up with you a lot, being in Montgomery. But
680 was a 50,000-watt AM station, but it was what they call a clear channel. We never cut the power. We could run 24 hours a day at 50,000 watts. You could pick us up from Chattanooga to Montgomery, Columbus, Georgia.
And it's just, I don't know if they've got anything that's equivalent to it today. I really don't. I think
they do not. No.
the day of those great talk radio stations might be gone. Do you think the computer, or do you think Facebook and all that's messing with a lot of that?
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt about that. Talk radio now, and I think it's our society, Mike. People aren't willing to sit and listen to 2 and 3 hours.
Yeah.
That's why the podcast and based in the big cities.
Exactly.
You know, you're traveling, you're caught up, you got a lot of things to do. Nobody's, and talk radio is going the way right now, basically going the same way that newspapers have gone.
Yeah, and it's terrible. Birmingham News, I think, has 3 papers a week. 3.
Yeah,
the great Birmingham News.
Yeah, and I think Mobile's the same way.
Yeah, exactly.
I think Huntsville's the same way. There's not many daily papers anymore.
You know something about those days, Max? Most of the people were 20, 22, 24, 25-year-old young people getting a start in life. But mostly they were clean. I mean, they were clean-cut people, well-dressed people, very conscious of the way they dressed, and they all went out and had a good time, but it was a clean atmosphere. Now you worry about drug lords and all that going on. And, you know, back in the heyday of Atlanta, you hardly ever saw a policeman unless he was just laughing and carrying on with folks, you know.
Well, see, that was the nature of our society. You had to do that to get a good job, to get ahead financially. Today, you know, I guess a lot of people think that because of our generation, Mike, where a lot of people made good money through the years, a lot of their kids, you know, get it the old-fashioned way. They inherit it. They don't get out there and work for it.
That's right.
I think that's a major difference in what's happening in our society today and what happened 50 years ago.
Yeah. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Max Howell, of course, you know, it's not football season, so he's taking a little bit of time off. But, hey, he still cooks, and he cooks every day. And Max, you know what half the people that are watching this show today are waiting for is Max Howell. What's for dinner? Or excuse me, dinner. What's for dinner? You know, I call it supper.
Yeah, supper, man.
What do you call it, Max? You got to call it dinner or what?
No, we call it what's for supper in Mississippi now.
All right, tell us what you're going to cook this weekend. I know you're going to cook for somebody.
I've got buddies that own a big fish camp right down below my house on the Tennessee Tom-Bigby. They went fishing this past weekend, caught 150 crappie.
All right, you hear that, Frank Jr.? Frank Jr. is a big crappie fisherman.
I went Monday in my little pond and caught 30.
Well, I'm telling you.
You call them slabs, don't you, Max? Isn't that right?
Let me tell you, that's right, Mike. But the slabs, you know, I used to read about those when I was growing up.
We call them white perch, didn't we?
Yeah, that's right. There ain't nothing for them to catch 2 and 3 pound crappie up here, and I never saw one that big.
And they call them slabs because they take that knife and they just run right through it. You don't see a bone, do you?
No, you don't see a bone. They come off like they do catfish. But anyway, we're going to do crappie. We're going to do crappie. We'll deep fry those with hush puppies and French fries, and I'll do baked beans and coleslaw. Kind of traditional. We'll have a big old pitcher of sweet iced tea. And for dessert, I always do a special dessert for this group I cook on the weekends for.
Now tell us about that world famous dessert that's becoming world famous. That mud pie.
They really love. The one they love is that banana pudding now.
Yeah.
That's by far.
All right, now tell me, do you make your banana pudding with a lot of meringue, or how do you do it?
I don't do a lot of meringue. I do a lot of pudding and bananas. I do one layer of vanilla wafers on the bottom. I don't even put them on the sides.
Yeah.
And then I'll take that but here's another one. I sprinkle the top with crushed pecans.
Oh, I love that.
And nobody else hardly that I know will do it that way.
And what time does this? What time are we eating?
Well, we eat on Sunday evening about 6 o'clock on the Tennessee Tom-Bigby.
But y'all got one of the greatest fraternities I've ever seen because all they do is fish and eat.
That's all right. And then in the winter they hunt.
Yeah.
I do deer. I do any kind of wild animal.
Yeah.
We all live it on the Creole. They got about 8 or 10 of those guys.
What is your favorite cut of a steak? Porterhouse,
T-bone.
I'm a ribeye guy, buddy. I'm a ribeye guy, mainly because
I like it because you get a little of that fat. That fat is where the flavor comes from, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely right. Exactly right. And I do them about an inch thick.
Yeah.
And I'm going to sear them on both sides. See, I like mine about medium rare.
Yeah.
And let me just say this. If anybody wants one well done, I'll let them cook.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God, you're right. You're cooking all the flavor away. Well done. Right. I'll tell you a good something I've started really enjoying, and I get the guy to cut them, is you cut a T-bone that's got a good fillet on it. You know, you got the fillet on one side, the strip on the other side. That's a good piece of meat right there.
That's a huge.
If you get a middle cut, you know, right there in what they call a prime cut.
Exactly right. Oh, and keep the bone in.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Now that's high eating right there, Mike. That's big time stuff.
And of course, now let me tell you something about Max. You've always watched what you ate. I've never seen a fat Max Howell before. You've always stayed in good shape. Do you watch what you eat? I mean,
I do. I watch the volume, Mike. I don't nearly eat as much as I used to.
Yeah.
Because when you get older, your metabolism slows.
But do you eat a lot of vegetables and salads, or what do you do?
I really don't. I eat red meat about twice a week. I do it.
Because I'm fixing to stun you. You're close to 80 years old now, aren't you?
Yeah, I'll be 78 in May.
Well, you're in great shape, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm in pretty good shape. Yeah, I'm still out there hanging with the best of them.
Yeah, I know it. And of course,
I sleep about 7 hours a night. And,
that's very important, isn't it?
Yeah, I get up about 10. I go to bed about 10:30 and get up about 6:30, and I hit the road running. And do it. Fortunate enough, I do it every day. I do it about 7 days a week there, by the way.
Well, I bet you, of course, Fulton's not a big town, but of course, Tupelo is just right down the road, and that's the home of Elvis Presley, isn't it?
Oh yeah, that's a big deal over here. When they have the group out of Memphis comes down, and they do it. They've really built this whole place up and advertised. You can go down to the main streets of Tupelo, and they've got the guitars into the concrete now.
Oh yeah, that's big. Yeah.
They really publicize it. They help us make a lot of money out there.
Now Tunica, is it doing okay, or is it on hard times?
All the gambling casinos over here, Mike, have gone down. They've taken Harrah's out at Tunica.
I know it used to be really good.
Yeah, oh yeah. But see, that's about 2 hours for me.
Well, I'm saying good restaurants and so forth. Now, Abner's, Abner White, that started Abner's, that's Parker's grandson. That's Parker's son. Did you know that?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's Parker White's son, and of course,
Abner was at Ole Miss when I coached at Ole Miss.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And so I'll tell you another one that I recruited that didn't end up coming. I recruited Billy Atkins' son, Ace.
Yeah, is Ace still writing, or what is he doing?
Oh yeah, he's written about 15 books. He's a professor at Ole Miss now.
Now he's not quite as big as Mr. Gresham. Have you ever met Gresham?
Oh yeah.
Is he still live in the Oxford community, or where does he live?
He lives in Virginia. No, he lives in Virginia now.
And of course, Gresham.
He got so popular, Mike. He got so popular that he couldn't even go to town.
Yeah.
I mean, people would go out to his house and park. He had about 10 or 15 number one sellers.
Yeah.
But he's still writing. But no, he lives in Virginia now. But he still comes back to Ole Miss and does book signings. And
did it surprise you that Luke got that job at Ole Miss?
No, you know what? They could not have done better, Mike. And let me tell you why.
Because he's an Ole Miss blue blood, or what?
He's an Ole Miss guy. He understood what was going on. He'd been on the staff there for about 10 years. He played at Ole Miss. His family played there. See, his brother, Tommy Luke, was a quarterback when I was there. So, I mean, they go way back.
Yeah.
Anybody else they have brought in would have gotten tired of all the sanctions and all the harassment going on. He's happy to be there. He got a 4-year contract just recently.
Boy, that is huge for him now.
Oh, it was.
But he's old, laid back, blue blood Ole Miss, isn't he? I mean, he's a yuppie type, isn't he?
He is that, and he'll win 6 or 7, 8 games a year during this time.
And all he's concerned about is that they're still singing Hotty Toddy.
Yeah, that's very true. That's very true. He's a great guy.
But wouldn't you say Oxford, Mississippi might be one of the great places to live in America?
Oh, listen, let me tell you. I will tell you this: the real estate there.
I mean, if you love beautiful homes and decor, you'd love Oxford, Mississippi, wouldn't you?
Mike, it's like the beach. The property values are like the beach. I'm telling you, the condos over there, the rent for students start at $1,200 a month.
And it's a lot like Auburn. I think Auburn's probably outgrown Oxford, but Oxford has kept it the way they want it.
Well, it's 23,000 people, not including students. And it's just a small southern town, and they've kept it that way. They got the same square, got the courthouse in the center, got restaurants all the way over.
Oh, it's a fabulous place. It really is. I mean, it's a tourist attraction.
Well, it is, and if you've never been to the Grove before a ball game,
oh yeah,
the Grove grows more.
I went with a guy named Phil Hall, and you were in school with Phil. You remember Phil and Mary Duncan Hall?
I sure do.
They live in Grenada. Of course, Phil died a little over a year ago, and we missed him today. But Mary Duncan still lives in Grenada.
Well, bless her heart.
Well, now, Grenada now, where they live now, was real nice, but you weren't that fond of Grenada.
I spent a week one day there.
Okay, I got you. One day there. Well, it's been a lot of fun, Max. I'm tickled that you called, and of course, now you're gonna be coming in here on April 21st, won't you?
Yes, I will. I'll be there for the spring game, and we'll stay on for the banquet that night, and certainly we'll look forward to seeing all the guys.
I've got the Archer reunion. You remember John Archer, the great John Archer, and I'm bringing in Terry Wilkinson, Charles Clark, William Thigpen, Frank Miller. You remember those guys?
Yeah, give those guys.
Judson Dye. You remember Judd Dye?
Yeah, absolutely.
And of course Tommy Whitehurst from Kinston. We're gonna have a big weekend. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
You give them my regards, and I'll look forward to seeing you and the guys down there on the 21st.
All right, Max. Always good to hear from you, my friend.
All right.
Have a good one. Max Howell calling in from Fulton, Mississippi, and of course he's one of the top.
Sounds pretty exciting. Around him.
Well, he is, and no question about it. Hope you've enjoyed our show today, and of course it's a big weekend. We need some people in the stands now. Friday night when Troy plays. Saturday night when Troy plays Louisiana Monroe. It is senior night. The seniors on the women's basketball team and the men's basketball team will be recognized, and hopefully, like you said, Wesley Person can break that record this weekend on senior night. And of course, everything starts with a golf tournament this morning, starting at noon for the Clipson group, and we call them Archers boys, and they'll be out at the Marriott tonight, and then of course they're going to eat dinner at Sisters, and we're going to have a feast out at Sisters tonight about 7:15, and then we're going to have a little gathering there at the hotel. Then the next morning, breakfast at the Stadium Club, and of course going to have a big fun gathering there, and then early morning, 7:30, 7:15, we've got a shoot around at the Trojan Arena. Can you believe that? Shoot around, it's going to be a lot of fun. Hope you have a great weekend, and go Troy.